to help other people be fruitful with their gifts.
So yeah, looks like we're live. Well, yeah. Welcome. Today we have a very special guest. We got Terrance Price here, and I just want to first of all say thank you for your time, your energy, and just for your commitment to be here and sit down and have this conversation. So yeah, thank you for being here.
Oh man, appreciate you for inviting me, man.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get into it. Why don't we just start with a little bit of an introduction, kind of give us a little backstory on what it is you do, where you came from. But I don't want you to just tell us. I want you to brag on yourself right now. No humbleness. We want you to brag on yourself right now.
He said brag on
Yeah.
stuff, man.
I want you to show off.
That's pretty tough, man. I'm usually like a low key guy. Like you to stumble up on the things I've done versus tell you most of the times. But man, I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Grew up and just the city, just really in love with art, man. Started with just drawing all the time. As I got through middle school and high school, that drawing started to turn into like digitized art. And then I got these computer classes. I touched a computer class for the first time, man, and we started doing these competitions with branding and all of that stuff, man, and ended up winning. So 11th grade, I think with 10th grade, I ended up winning a regional competition based on these designs that we created as far as like brands and these business competitions that we were doing in high school. And so I got my first taste there, and I was like, man, look, I started leading the organization and doing all these things. And the next year, in my 11th grade year, I ended up placing 6th in the nation in New York in design. And so that experience, man, was eye-opening. And that pretty much kind of started my career in design and branding and all of that good stuff, right? I always loved creating brands, and immediately after I won that, I started doing business. So I'm like, hey, I'm making money in high school just by doing brands and T-shirt designs or for the school and all that stuff. So I almost didn't go to school for it just because I was making money. I was like, man, I don't need to go to school for design because I'm already doing it, right? That would have been a dumb mistake. But I went to school for it and. Man, got 10 times better, understood how to do things, do business properly, because there's always a proper way to do things, a professional way to do things, right? We all have raw talent, but if you don't actually refine that talent properly, it's hard to do things on a scalable and a professional level, right? So while I was in school, I'm still constantly scaling my own businesses outside of school. I didn't work for anybody. I had some mentors I had a mentor at the time that really taught me the concept of like retainers and contracts and things like that, right? And so I took that concept and I was like, man, it'll be dope instead of working for somebody. It'll be dope to just have companies on retainer. So I had my portfolio on the iPad and I would walk into businesses with my portfolio and be like, hey, instead of, I understood that it's a whole bunch of overhead that comes with bringing on a full-time employee, right? Or hiring somebody full-time. So I'm like, hey, I'm a college student. I do great work. I already done some award-winning work. So here's my portfolio. I can offer you maybe 20 hours a month of my time and my work. And that's what will come with a retainer fee. This is my hourly rate and that retainer fee. And you basically paying this a bulk amount of hours a month, and if you don't use it, you don't use it, but it's up to you. But these are the hours that you agree to for 12 months or half a month. And so I started doing that, man. And then everything like a clothing line and in college, all types of stuff, right? Just really trying to create and make a difference. All of my stuff always had purpose, man. So everything, the messaging, everything like that. So I just really, really cared about purpose, design with purpose, and really trying to touch lives and change lives if I could, however I could in a creative way, right? So that was that was where I was in that moment in college, and I ended up getting an internship, man. And was it my senior year in New York? My senior year in college, I needed an internship to graduate, and I ended up getting placed in the top agency in the world in New York as an intern. Ended up getting hired like a month into the internship.
Wow.
And yeah, crazy, right? So that turned into a job, man. And like, dude, my career just kicked off from there. I embraced the New York hustle, man. I thrive in high pressure situations. And out there, I ended up rebranding UPS globally. Was on a team of like 3 to 4 people. And we rebranded UPS Global with the United Problem Solvers campaign. We won awards for that, which is pretty dope. I ended up getting to work on NASCAR while I was out there. I had some work in NASCAR Hall of Fame that won some work in NASCAR Hall of Fame that won some awards. Dude, it was a really amazing time to be out there, and I ended up leaving there to pretty much go and support my girlfriend at the time, is my now wife. And I left to help her build her fashion businesses. And so, man, when I left to do that, we got to show in LA, New York. We launched a line in Paris. We was actually to go out here and do a lot of amazing things. But as far as like the creative and the content, all of that stuff, I led and creative directed that. But it was all based on a network that I had from my previous job, my ad agency experience, and the network that I built there. And man, through that experience, I felt like there was a gap missing. I mean, there's a gap, unfilled gap, as far as the bridge between corporate creators and the access that they have, and the bridge, and the creators who are every day, they may not have the money, they may not have the network or the people, or sometimes they just don't know how. YouTube is a lot, but it's still a difference between having experience on a set, a big set, when you're dealing with tons of people at once, and how to navigate that and how to scale your projects. And so I wanted to bridge that gap, and that's how the idea of Maker's Gym came about. So it was like, hey man, let me get this going. I put this on paper, man, and had a lot of help, a lot of people on the way. It's a long list of names. So, but no, it's that's how Maker's Gym came about. I don't think I had that in the intro yet, but I'm the founder and owner of Maker's Gym. I own it with my brother, Tori Hanna. We're family. We're brother-in-laws, but family-owned business. And dude, I'm just happy to be at the place we are. Right now we're in downtown Frisco. We got a 13,000 square feet facility out here. We got everything from conference rooms to meeting rooms, your traditional co-working amenities, but tons of studio space. So we got a 1,200 square foot sound stage, 3 photography studios that vary in size, a recording studio, 2 podcasts, 2 editing bays, hot desk, meeting room. We have a lot. You could pretty much, it's a creatives and small business heaven out here. So I skipped some stuff, but that's a little bit about me. I did some cool stuff with Doritos too, by the way. That was like some of my latest work while I was building this. I was able to work on the product launch of Doritos Flaming Hot Nacho. So that was pretty cool too. So
Okay. Yeah, I love that, because it sounds like you had this innate passion from a very young age in the arts, and that kind of just carried you through. But not just that, but for the business side too, because it sounds like the entrepreneurship kind of came naturally to you. Does that sound about right? Do you feel like the marriage between the two, for you personally, came pretty easily for you, or is that something? How did that come about for you?
I think it's having people around you to educate you. That was probably my biggest thing, right? So, artists, a lot of things when it comes to artists, a lot of it is self-expression. So you can learn technique, you can learn things like that, but as far as your self-expression and what you want to express, it's a lot of that stuff is like self-taught, right? It's kind of like what's in you, right? How it comes out and what you're creating on your canvas, whatever that canvas is. But the moment you want to, one, create for somebody else, now you have to understand how to communicate to that person, communicate that person's vision like they want, and or how to do business with that person. So that in order to do business properly with them, you need to understand your value. You need to understand, like, what is your value, not just how much you're going to charge them, but how much your time is worth. If you understand how much your time is worth down to the minute, then you understand how much you need to charge them, right? So, or how much or what projects to do or don't do. So I learned that part from that mentor I was telling you about, who put me on with the contracts and all of that stuff, right? So it's really understanding your value, and then going out and understanding how to properly monetize your craft and your art. I think that is you have so many talented people out here that are amazing at self-expression, but the moment when you want to, amazing at creating, have great ideas, but the moment they want to create for clients, the business part is where it falls off, because a lot of people lack education as far as how to handle business, how to treat their clients, how to communicate to their clients properly, communicate their ideas properly, and all that stuff. So did that come naturally? I think with the people around me, yeah, because I also needed to make a living too. So I was like, hey, or support myself, If you wanted to, hey, I want a new computer. Guess what? I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna find somebody who can pay for this computer. So, or do some work that can bring in the money for it. So, those were the things that kind of drove it as a younger person. Like, all right, I'm trying to get this new thing. So, how am I gonna get it? I know I can make sell some designs or make some T-shirt stuff for somebody. And then that scaled to branding businesses and all that stuff later. But
yeah, I think that right there is definitely a big struggle for artists in general, is kind of figuring out their value, how to charge people or monetize and make a living. So to hear the way that you went about it, it sounds like you had a pretty good grasp on it from an early age, even if it was just like, hey, I need to figure out how I'm gonna get this. Like that seems like it came naturally to you, because I don't think everyone, especially the creative types, have that natural sense for them and for their work. So, so I guess, and you also mentioned it's a bit of education as well. So I think that's a big thing for artists to take away, is just really educating yourself on that front, and learning the business side of things. But yeah, I just want to talk about also, it sounds like, looking at things in hindsight, everything had a pretty steady progression up to you leading to this idea of Maker's Gym, and now it's here. But I'm sure it wasn't that smooth of a process going through it all. So what were some of like the chain of events leading up to the birth of this idea?
Man, the business plan was drawn out in 2016. We started looking at spaces in New York, where I was living at the time. I was living in Brooklyn. So I was looking at areas or buildings that was like, about a block away from Barclays Center. And, we were just doing research and looking at price points and all that stuff like that. And hey, it's probably too expensive to build what we're trying to build in New York. So we came down to Frisco. Well, Dallas first. We thought it was going to be, hey, let's be in Deep Ellum or Dallas and all that stuff, right? But then we did some more research, and we noticed that Frisco is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, growing city in the country. So why not get ahead of it and start our first location out here as a beta test? So pretty much we're trying to prove that, hey, if this thing thrives in a smaller growing market, it'll thrive in any major market, right? So So we came down here. Was looking at buildings. I moved down here. Was at a ad agency working on Doritos. And while I was doing that, it was a 9 to 5 after work or early in the morning before work. I'll be scouting properties. And then so I have late nights where I'm working on working on Maker Gym and the work stuff. So there's a lot of work and concepting. That process was pretty crazy. Did that for 2 years. And then, a year and a half, 2 years, whatever. And I got a call. It was like, hey, we got this building in downtown Frisco that it was dirt out here. They had, they was showing us the plans for it, but it was like literally dirt. They had pretty much, tore everything out. And we was like, hey, we looked at the plans. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And we started the process of doing the floor plans and stuff like that. And, dude, it got crazy real fast. We ended up signing a lease. I'll give you the timelines first. We signed a lease for the space when it was just dirt on December 2018. Our first launch date was supposed to be September 2019. We opened April 2021. Oh. So within that time frame, you got pandemic, you got a lot of stuff that happened in that time frame. But even before the pandemic, we had issues. I had to fire like 2 architects because they didn't get the vision or they didn't have the things we want. So I just started reaching out to the top architect agency companies in the area that look like, hey, y'all did some work that can fit what we're, have the capability to help us with our design. And man, I reached out to like the head person, one of the head people in the in the agency, and they got back to me that day it was a Saturday, and she just so happened to be in her email, and she got back to me right then. It was like after going through like two, 3 architects and getting to that perfect one, that was amazing. So it started off good. We were planning things, and locked in our general contractor, which was a general contractor who were doing the whole exterior building in itself. And so just a long part to get to, I guess we're talking about the journey, but it was a long part to get to the biggest hiccup. So we started construction February 2020. Pandemic hit March 2020. All right. And so what that did was, construction was still essential business. So we were still building through the pandemic. You had stuff like material delays. There would be like 6 to 8 month delays, all this stuff like that, right? So we already had those type of timeline hiccups where the opening date just kept getting pushed back to the point where we were in construction for over a year, so which is pretty insane. Mm-hmm. But halfway through that construction process, we were 100% paid up on our contract. And then we found out that our general contractor robbed us of half of our construction budget. So what was happening, we were paid up, we were paying them, and they were supposed to be paying the subcontractors. But I come out on the site, and like it's ghost town. I'm like, yo, what's up? Where everybody at? And subcontractors like, yo, we ain't paid. We owe $250,000 that we ain't been paid since March.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we had you owed like a whole bunch of money. Like that was just one general contract. It's like, it was like over 30 different subcontractors. That was working. So crazy. So yeah, I had to deal. They robbed us, abandoned us, filed bankruptcy, and disappeared. And so guess what? I had to take over general contractor and renegotiate contracts with all the subs so they can get back out here and work. And we had to pay extra money to finish the project. So this is why, as far as faith goes and your vision, this is why, having everything, your plans down, having everything written, but then having faith that things will go through, because if you don't have your plans or your visions written down and you just going out without any planning, hiccups like that will just throw you completely off. You'll quit. I'm like, oh, it's over. I'm like, nah, this thing too big. Like, that's the first step. Like, this thing too big to be over, right? So now I'm looking, because this is a global vision. It's only one location, our beta test, right? I'm like, nah, we getting this thing open. You know what I'm saying? Like, we getting this thing open. And the reason I can have that type of confidence, I have faith in what I felt like God put on my heart to do to make a difference in the creative community, right? And so, dude, that time and me having to take over general contract, I didn't know nothing about general contract. You know, that's not what I do, but I know how to communicate, I know how to handle business, right? So I was able to I knew the design of the building, what I wanted to look like. So that was an advantage, you know. But I just took what I knew and learned fast and navigated to make sure that this thing got done, because the purpose of it was too powerful to let something like that stop me. There's always lessons and value in either losses or mistakes or any of it, right? So I look at it back hindsight, like, man, that was detrimental. Like, how could they do you like that, right? I mean, I feel like everything happens for a reason. You know, that's an expensive lesson to learn, but now I can build these with my eyes closed, inside and out. You know what I'm saying? So if we're planning to grow fast, I need to understand how to do everything inside and out. The inside every wall, everything from the furniture to the equipment. Like, you know, you know, being able to have to work everything and understand how everything functions, right? So that we can become more efficient as we make more of these. So I wouldn't have had that same knowledge if everything went perfect. You know, so that's another thing along a creative journey. You always got to embrace you got to be flexible. Don't be a perfectionist. You want things to be done in excellence, right? But when curveballs are thrown your way, you gotta like, hey, shake it off and adjust. You know, if that's because you may lose something, that don't mean the game over. You know, so.
Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of good points there, and it's just one, the fact that I think establishing your vision and understanding the bigger plan that you have in place is where you should start, because and that kind of I think starts with a why, but also everything else that you have planned out for it, and the fact that you're able to push through whatever came your way, and it didn't matter because you already had that vision set in place. Come hell or high water, like I'm gonna get there to the finish line no matter what.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that at the time, you know, it must have felt pretty crazy. So could you take us back to that time, and emotionally, how did it feel? Like, it's easy to say now, like you're going to push through no matter what, but like emotionally at the time, how was it that easy to say then as well, or?
Well, I'm the type that emotionally, you mean you have moment when you're talking about the amount of money. I'm not going to say the amount of money, but like I'm talking about the amount of money that was stolen. It's an insane amount. You can feel a lot of stuff, you know. You're like, hey, should I go find this dude? Like, you know, naturally, I mean, from where we from, that's kind of like how your first instinct, hey, but nah, like we can, building a business, you can make your money back. Businesses lose money all the time, right? So you can make your money back later. That's just something that, hey, things things happen for a reason. But my first instinct was to, on an Enneagram, I'm a challenger and achiever. I tied for 3: challenger, achiever, reformer. Reformer is like perfectionist. Challenger is like, you know, most like dominant leaders are challengers. And then your achiever, obviously you hit achiever, right? So I got these aggressive, like, these strong personality traits. So if a challenge is in front of me, I'm gonna attack it, right? It's almost like a bull seeing red, right?
Mm.
So it's like I'm not going, before I let something fall, I'm gonna do everything I can to pick it back up. You know what I'm saying? So my immediate instinct, I start calling all the subcontractors that I had contacts with and letting them know, hey, we both just got robbed. The money we paid for you to get paid, they took it and left. But let's negotiate. Let's negotiate this so we can get back going. I don't even think construction stopped for more than 2 weeks.
Wow.
Like, that's how fast we were able to get stuff back on board. So that was pretty cool, man. But that was my first thing, man, is to, all right, sit back, pray, gather myself, pray about the aggression that I felt as far as somebody stealing from us, you know? Because my brother was an investor. Even though he invested, it felt like it was mine. You know, it felt like you stole it out of my pocket, too, because it's our business together. And so, naturally, man, you're talking about people stealing from you. You're going to have some... Most guys are going to have some type of aggressive thoughts. So I just had to pray off that revengeful spirit, you know, that's just it's not productive to anybody, you know. And so I would get up early in the morning, I would meditate, pray, and kind of ground myself. And then we'll get the day started, and I'll just focus on renegotiating, recovering from that. And it ended up being a better process, man. The subcontractors, the scheduling and all that stuff that I ended up putting in place, it worked better. It worked better than what they were doing. And they were like, yeah, we would have worked with you in the first place. I was like, oh, okay. I'm sorry, me a general contractor company, you know? So, but yeah, that's just kind of as far as how I felt, though. That's how I went about it. That's what it was. It's just a little bit about my personality, right? So, reason why I like New York is stuff happens. It's like fast paced, but it's always something. It's always something, but you can't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got a photo shoot, oh, my camera breaks. All right, we gotta go to the store. We gotta get another one. We gonna keep this photo shoot going, right? Like you figured out how to pay. I was like, I'm paying for this now, and I gotta figure out how I'm gonna eat the next day. All right, we're gonna make this go. I mean, I gotta do an extra photo shoot so I can pay for the food. So, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just solution. It's like something happened, I ain't find a solution to fix it. Something happened, find a solution to fix it. And not being discouraged by obstacles. Obstacles equals lesson, growth, and learning. The next time that thing happens, guess what? Now you know how to instantly recover with a solution. You ever been around somebody that's like in a high, intense pace set or something like that, and you got that one person that got like real quick on it, because they've had a lot of situations that's happening in that moment that they've already been through. And then so they're like, quick solution. Oh yeah, just put this on it. And then next, oh this broke. Oh okay, replace that with a, replace that screw with this, and whatever, right? But that's just through trial and error and not being discouraged by things going wrong. It's a part of, especially a creative process. Curveballs is a part of it. So,
yeah, I think that's a huge takeaway. It sounds like it's something that's just also a natural part of you. You're not a high stress person where it's just like if something comes along, yeah, I'm gonna figure it out no matter what. So, are there? And I know you mentioned there are things that help keep you grounded. So, what are some of those things for you? Like, do you have certain like whys on like when there are obstacles that come? I just need to pivot. I'm gonna figure my way around it, and I'm gonna get to the end goal no matter what.
I think obstacles are always gonna come, but it's your responsibility is not the obstacles. It's how you respond to the obstacles, right? Which means that if you're not in a healthy mental state or you're tired or fatigued because you've been not sleeping enough, or you're not taking care of your health or your body or your mental, so now you're all of a sudden you're angry all the time. you're short tempered. Guess what? They ain't nobody fault but yours. So what I have to do is like I get up early in the morning, like I come up to the space. I get up, we open at 8, I get up here, I try to get up here like 6:30 most days, right? And I have my quiet times and gather myself, I pray, I read, and that's how I can, it's not like a thing like, hey, if obstacles gonna come. So you have to make sure that you have routines that have you balanced before every day starts. Every day is gonna have its own obstacles and challenges, whether it's small, big, or whatever. So like if you're not doing anything to make sure that you're taken care of or that you're mentally grounded, then that stress or anxiety or depression, whatever that is that person has, like it's gonna hit you hard, like because you can be triggered by anything. How you speak to your coworkers, how you speak to your spouse, your significant others, or even just how you are. Like if you just you want to be by yourself in the dark and like if you was taking care of yourself, you have better spirits. You want to be around. You want to laugh. You will be lighter.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we don't take care of ourselves. We don't talk about mental health and spiritual health and all these things, right? And really feeding ourselves for success. Like, how can you pour into somebody else? I looked at it. We got this metaphor with like a sponge, right? How can you pour into somebody else when your sponge is dry? Right? Like, what are you pouring from? If you squeeze a dry sponge, it's scratchy, it's itchy, right? It's like you're gonna rub people the wrong way, But like if you dip it, if you're constantly soaking in water, taking care of yourself, right? You're soaking. I mean, you're soft. So if somebody were to squeeze you, that's what they can be filled. They can be filled from the goodness that you filled yourself up with, and you're still balanced because you still got more to pour from. If that makes sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never heard that metaphor, but I think that's a great one to live by. But I completely agree with having to keep yourself and your mental space guarded, and so that way you can pour into other people. Because, like you said, if you're a dry sponge, like you have nothing to offer, because and you're only doing that at your own detriment at that point.
Yep.
So, staying grounded and being able to find peace in those little daily things I think are huge, and I think a lot of people can take a lot from that and start implementing those certain things. But yeah, you talk about being grounded and being in design and in this space. So what is it that drew you into these things from the beginning? Like, why is it, or what is it that you love so much about this, and what keeps you going, that drives you?
What about creating or
creating? Yeah, being a creative person through design, but also through the space. Like, what is it that you love so much about it?
I think so. When I think there's like different types of creators, right? For me, I think I found out that I feel like my ultimate like purpose or what I'm really good at is building others and others' brands. That makes sense. So like, the reason why I like advertising. So like, you're in creative direction, art direction, you're always building and creating for this particular brand or person, right? But then also I noticed that translates for individuals as well. Now you have influencers, you have just people in general. Like, I think even though nowadays I feel like everybody's somewhat of an influence because of social media. Like, regardless if you have 1 million followers or 100 followers, who you are on social media or what you look like, you technically can be some type of an influence to these 100 people they may be following you, right? So understanding that we are brands and what we do or what we associate ourselves with is a part of our brand. So whatever age you are, right? So if you if you play basketball every day. People gonna associate your brand as a basketball player. Like, you know, you may not be an NBA player, but like, oh yeah, he's a hooper. You know, right? That's a part of your brand, right? If you go do charities, oh, this person, and you do charities all the time, or Habitats for Humanity, oh, this person, they're really givers. You know, they care about the people. You know, this is a part of who you are. If you associate yourself with the wrong type of crowd, you may not do everything they do, but they associate you with their crowd. You know, so everything, we are brands, and I think for me, my thing is creating for others or helping others create for themselves that's where my passion and sweet spot is, because I find value in seeing other people thrive and flourish in their own way, or giving them the tools to, or helping them build or shape their brand so that they can flourish. That's where I am. I think when you have other artists and creators who like to create for themselves, I think that's more like in the mindset of like a fine artist, right? So it's more self-expression. So like you got painters that's like, hey, you know, you're telling this story that's true to you and true to who they are, you know, who they are, or what they believe in that moment, or what the topic of this exhibit is. That's fine art, right? Because you're not necessarily, I think it's like more of a self-expression, like inward, true to this particular person. You don't have the burden of creating for a business, or creating within the standards of a particular business or corporation, or even creating for another person, because this person could not like your idea. Now you got to come up with other ideas. They could not like none of your ideas, and now guess what? Now you and your feelings, because you want to design for yourself. You know, you want to create for yourself, ultimately. But the goal is ultimately, I'm just saying there's two different creators. So people that can create for themselves, or people that's good at creating for others. If you want to create for others, there's a whole business aspect to it. If you're creating for yourself, you still need to know your value. You still know the business side of it, but your advantage is you have a lot more freedom there, if that makes sense. So
That's an interesting point, because I've never put it into categories before, of like different types of creatives. And now that you said it, it makes a lot more sense. And I feel like I probably fall in between some. Like, there are things that I've taken on projects where it feels like, for other people, where it feels like I don't want to do it. And maybe that's in part due to the fact that I didn't put my value first, and didn't understand my value in that project. So maybe I undervalued myself, and that's what made me kind of not care about it so much. But I do enjoy a lot more creating for myself and doing things that I love, and then doing something exactly like this, where we get to interact and have these valuable conversations. So that's a different vantage point that I never really thought of. So that's huge, and it actually brings a better clarity and understanding of who I am as a creative. So but yeah, in saying that, I think it's awesome that you have this passion to help others flourish, and in doing so, you combined your passion for helping others and your passion for being creative, and then created a whole business plan around that. And so now that is a thing, now that Maker's Gym is almost 2 years in the making, what's the impact on people's lives that you've seen, and how has that affected you in being able to give back to the business?
Man, that's it's all amazing to, like, sometimes it's like when those quiet times, you just sit back and just be, just be amazed as to where we are, how far we've came, and all that good stuff. It's an amazing feeling, even just to think about it. Some of the stories are even more mind blowing. I never forget when we first opened. People felt so inspired that when they would do tours, they like it was one lady. She just couldn't stop crying. She just like broke out. She was so inspired. She just was crying. Like honestly, that was amazing in itself. Like just that feeling, like yo, like we created something that's like that emotionally, that is inspiring people. That's what we wanted. But then to see it in real life is like, oh snap! Like we've we've created something that's inspiring people beyond our imagine. It's blowing our minds. Like oh, like this is amazing. And then to hear like stories of like people like, man, like my business is we saving so much money, but our revenue has grown because we have access to these things and the people. And then seeing people that networking across the app and the directory and like people doing scalable projects and, having somebody just build a whole like room within our soundstage and shoot a whole movie in there. Like that's mind blowing, right? Man, we've had like, I'm just thinking about everything. We've had Microsoft do commercials in here. We've had global broadcast conferences and out from two or three of our studios across the world. Dude, it's been crazy. Now I'm just thinking about it. Some of the stuff I hadn't really just thought about over time, and that's just listening stuff that just popped in my head. But we got some of the top YouTubers in here, man. Like it's crazy. It's actually crazy to think about. It's an amazing feeling. Like I said, I'm naturally an achiever at heart, so a lot of times I'm thinking so far ahead. Like I'm like, yeah, we here, but I'm like, y'all have no idea where we going. No, we got so much to do. So people be like, yo, it's already great. I was like, it's great, it's good, but here we got some ways to go to get to great, right? So that's just how I am, because I know the business plan. It's like 60 something pages. We're not even done with phase part one of phase one. So it's it's crazy. It's mind blowing when people see it all unfold, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see this thing just take off, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly how I got drawn in as well. It's just like I came here for a makers talk, and just being in the space, I was in awe. I was like, okay, this is something I got to be a part of. Like, that's how inspiring just the space was, and how much attention to detail, like every single part of the building, everything that was put into it. That's what made me drawn into it, and immediately be like, this is something that I want to be a part of, and have a hand in helping with that vision. So yeah, I guess that being said, I think that kind of plays to your skills as a designer and marketer, and making sure that there's detail and intention to everything that you do. So how does that play a part into bringing everything together? Because yeah, for me, the detail that you put into it just shows the level of care that you had for your space and for your vision. Yeah. And when people can see that the leader's vision reflected in their space, that's what brings the crowd to that vision, to bring it to life.
Yeah.
So
you just talk about the space a little bit, the detail in the space.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's like, man, like I said, everything has to have purpose. So like if you like, so in the design world, like in school even, like if you can't explain why something is there, like, well, why is it there? Get rid of it. Like if it's just there just because, it doesn't make sense. Like there's purpose. There should be purpose to everything, right? What especially if you get into just creative in general, like what story are you telling? Honestly, that's why fine art can be cheap or expensive based on the story. I seen some crazy, I can't remember what it was, but I think it was in like one of my art history books or something. It was like it was just a dark canvas and it had a crack in it or something. Like, and I think the story was, it was something wild. this is probably so inaccurate, but the story was insane. Like it was like millions of dollars, and it was just a black or blue canvas with a crack in it. And I think it was like, oh yeah, I think he was like starting to paint and he had a heart attack and fell through the paint. Something like, something like that, right? And it was just like the incident, the story around it is what made the art, right? So what state this artist is in, like, oh, he painted this with, he lost 3 fingers and he painted it with his index, and, like something crazy, right? Sometimes, or just the story behind it, like, oh, okay, this was this was created during the pandemic, and this person was at was fighting internal demons and whatever, right? But how that's depicted on the canvas can only be beautiful, but people can resonate with it, and the value of art goes up. I'm not gonna act like I'm an art part. Like I'm not like a what you call those. I'm not like a somebody that understands fine art to be like, hey, this is a praise for this, and that, or whatever, right? I just know the story, whether we're talking about fine arts or we're talking about film or commercials or even print. Like the story behind what you're doing or what you're creating is what makes is what gives you value. So even in this physical space, we've created everything is derived from our logo, the icon. So even our camera icon that we have, which it had, so one of my favorite logos is the FedEx logo. It has a hidden arrow in between the E and the X, and that simply means speed and precision. It's hidden because it's supposed to come with the business and the actual, like how fast FedEx can get the work to you, right? I mean, get your product, their packages to you, whatever. Speed and precision is a part of the business, so that's why it's hidden, because it's there, but you feel it, but you don't necessarily see it. It's not like in front of you, but you feel the speed and precision. And so here, I was inspired by that. So when I designed the logo, the icon, the camera, it has a hidden kettlebell on the inside. That means that simply represents creative strength. And so it's all about the name Maker's Gym. It's all about creative strength, building those creative muscles, because if you don't build those creative muscles, you lose them, just like your physical ones, right? You lose weight or you become weaker. It's the same thing. You have to keep creating to build that strength. So we're still talking about the physical space here. These are just subcontext to how we got to the design of the physical space, and that camera icon is just the heart of it. And so as light enters into a camera lens, it breaks off into 30 and 60 degree angles. It's called refracted light. And so those angles, those refracted light angles, is what drove a lot of the design in the space. We got angles in our stairs and our ceilings and the handrails and all that stuff, right? So outside of our studios, most of our other rooms are not straight. It's all angled because of refracted light, right? So that is how detailed our space is, and then we wanted to make sure that every moment is different. You can be inspired in different ways. So we named every meeting room after different artists. And so, and we modified the design in the room, or built the design around or inspired by that particular artist, and then they'll change per location, right? So we always try to make sure we do celebrate some local artists and things like that. We got a couple rooms in here that are dedicated to some Brooklyn vibe, because we lived in Brooklyn, so we had to at least put our stamp on it a little bit. I'm gonna have some Memphis stuff in there. That's where I'm from originally, though. I'm gonna get some somewhere. But yeah, no, it's just a little bit about the design of the space. It's everything has to connect and make sense for the brand long term. And this is something that we're going to put in every city. So when you see our space, because our brand identity is so strong in the physical space and in the digital, web, print, wherever, it's all going to connect. It's all connecting currently. And so when you see our space, just like if you walk into a Chick-fil-A, you're going to know, oh, I'm in a Chick-fil-A, right? If you walk into Walmart, you go, oh, it's a Walmart. You know, Walmart does the same thing as a Target, but you walk in Target, you know it's not a Walmart. You know it's a Target, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how we are with our space. Everything has to make sense and feel on brand. And so whether that's the walls, whether it's the furniture, whether that's a commercial, it all has to feel on brand.
Yeah, I think that's huge and something that maybe not everybody sees. Just taking the time to put intention behind all the details, but also the story that you have created with the space. I think that's a huge thing as well. Being able to create story, connect to people, just through your space, but also with everything else. I think storytelling is what connects people on a basic level. And so I guess with that being said, have you thought about the legacy and the story that you want to leave behind and tell with your life? What is that impact you want to leave?
What is the impact that I want to leave as far as my legacy? It's interesting. Honestly, what I'm doing now, creating something that propels people. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like to build people, build their brands, build all this stuff, right? But build people, I think, ultimately. Because a lot of times, not just self-worth, but it's also about identity, knowing who you are. You know, a big thing was our tagline, "Made to Create," is we encouraging people that we feel like all people are made to create, but we also believe that we're all made in the image of God, which is the ultimate and original creator, right? So that means that we all have it's all in us to create. It's all naturally in our gene, whether that's, you don't have to be a photographer. It could be a photographer, it could be a videographer, it could be a writer, you can be a business owner, you know. There's creativity translates into so many different ways. We have forensic scientists in here, you know, so it's like it can be in science, it can be in whatever, but that's creativity. We all have a responsibility to be fruitful with the gifts that we're given, right? And so if I can help people navigate that journey easier to be fruitful with their gifts, that's the legacy I'm gonna live. Right, that's the one I want to leave, because I know that's something that my family, my kids' kids can take and keep going to help other people be fruitful with their gifts. So,
Yeah, and then that kind of even ties back into like where we started of like, you know, your want to, or your passion in design and being able to just build people up. So that's pretty cool to see is that everything that you've done is all aligned with that goal and legacy of wanting to build people up and gain the best out of an individual. So that's cool to see. But yeah, and then I also wanted to ask, I know you mentioned we're not even done with part one of phase one. So is there anything you can reveal as far as future goals? It doesn't even have to necessarily be for Maker's Gym, but personal goals, or if you want to reveal anything about plans for Maker's Gym.
Man, my personal, it's makers right now. You know, it's because there's so many goals within goals on that, and there's tiers. So basically what I had to do was we had to build a global vision, then we had to stair step it back in order to make it reality, right? So we're like, all right, my global vision is this. Now I need to make it a national. Now I need to make it a statewide. Now I need to make it city. Now I need to make it a region. You know, so I got all these like sub tiers of, okay, this is one location now. Everybody loves this one location, but nobody understands that the concept is powerful, or what it's supposed to be, when you have tons in different cities. So our mission is to remove all barriers for small businesses and creators to create. What are those barriers? Those barriers are location, those barriers of team scalable projects, and equipment and training, right? So we would knock out all of that stuff, lower the cost of overhead, and now people can go. You got a concept, or I like Japanese whiskey or whatever, right? So if I got a concept of I'm creating a commercial for this whiskey. I need authentic talent. I need authentic location. But then also my client, I need to make sure that we can get to that location, have the team there, have the equipment there, everything there, right? But just like you can have a membership at LA Fitness, and then you can go to a location in different cities and you still have that membership. Guess what? You can do the same thing. So you can do the same thing with what we're building too. So that's where people can create, man. You got ideas. We're encouraging people to dream big, but the more locations we have, we are enabling people to not just dream big, but to create big. So that's what basically the more locations in every major market, that's our goal. And that's what we're working towards, man. This is our beta test. So once we get, I always say this is like once this is where we at, we already in some conversations. But once this is where we need it to be, it's copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. You know.
I love that, and I'm excited too to just see this in more cities and all over the place. And I think something that you mentioned when creating something like that is that you had the grand scheme plan, but you took it and broke it down to smaller things. So you almost worked in reverse order. And I think that's, one, I think it's smart, but two, I think it's essential because you have to have the grand vision to be able to dream big. And that's the whole essence of this space, is to dream big for, or create big in any aspect. But in order to be able to do that, you do have to find the steps backwards to break it down. And breaking your goals down from, hey, this is my what I want to eventually be, but I got to work it backwards and find what the attainable steps are in order to get from that point, from where I'm at now, to that grand goal later. So, I think that's something that more creatives can take away, because a lot of times we miss that. We have the vision, but we don't have the steps in the order to get there. So, that's I think that's huge. So, I do appreciate you being here. We'll go ahead and wrap this up, but I do have some like rapid fire ish questions. You don't have to like be super fast with it, but they're just like, quick questions we can just have fun with.
All right.
So, so the first one is, who is someone in your network that is up to something good and you think people should check out their work, and possibly even have on next as a guest?
My network. I really like what my guy Justin Forsett is doing with his company Hustle Clean. It's pretty much like so he was a ex NFL player. He's a ex NFL player, and him and his business partner created this thing with body wipes, kind of like showers on the go type of thing, right? And simple but crazy good ideas. Like you leaving the gym and you may be late for a meeting or something like that, and you need to do a quick wash up and just keep going. Hey, you can do that with that, right? So I mean, they got this good thing, but they have a lot of great initiatives around it that they're doing. It's just been amazing to see their journey, and good people. He's actually a member here too. So, but no, he's good people, man, and his heart is amazing. They just was featured on this show called Life After on Amazon, on Amazon Prime, and they have a whole episode that talked about it. They featured the space on it and stuff like that too. So he's a good dude. I think he and he's wise. And so, like, you know, if you had to have somebody that's on here, I think he'd be a good dude to, you know, to feature. He, you know, he has gyms. You know, I talk about stuff like that, but you know, some people just have a gift with talking and empowering people. He speaks and he does those things as well. So, like big conferences and stuff like that. So, yeah, good dude, good business to support. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check the workout.
You ever creating too long, sitting in front of your computer editing too long, get you a shower, get you a house to clean wipe. Yeah. He didn't pay me for this, by the way.
Plugging it. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Next question is, what do you do for fun? Some of the hobbies you do for fun.
What did I do for fun? Man.
You talked about all your business now. What do you do to relax and just have fun?
Nothing. Sometimes sitting still is good, but honestly, I just enjoy being with my wife, man. Just sitting up, chilling with her. We'll go out and do some random stuff. We like do game nights a lot. We're competitive with games, with each other or with family. Games and or just chilling, watching shows, man. That's our thing. And usually, even when we go out, it's centered around games. You know, a lot of times like interactive stuff. We just found this new place called Electric Shuffle that we go to in the city, so it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then next one is, what did you want to be when growing up?
You said, what did I want to be growing up? My first thing was an architect.
Okay.
Think about how crazy that is.
Yeah, you kind of lived it out for a bit.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't imagine I was going to be building stuff, you know. I'm really good at math. I love math, but I also love design. So I was trying to figure out a way, how can I merge those two? I ended up moving away from wanting to do architecture because I had won so many awards in design. I was like, hey, I might need to just do design. But I was minored in computer science, and I was like developing websites and stuff too. So it was kind of like my way to merge, like you know, math and design and motion and all that stuff. And all that stuff is like the math and design coming to life now because a lot of the space I had to spec out some of the stuff, like the equipment and the things that go inside the space as well. So, yeah.
Okay, so you ended up being what you wanted to be.
Well, kinda, you know, but architecture is a whole.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing. You gotta have so many accreditations, and you gotta know so many, like. There's just so many like regulations when it comes to commercial construction and egress, like door, like it's crazy. It's a lot. Everything has like all these guidelines. You know, if it's wrong, like ADA stuff, and we got the rails that's in the lobby. If we had this thing where like you can't have a gap. They got this like metal ball that they measure the gaps in rails. So like it can't be too big. The hole can't be too big to where the ball can fit through. Because if it can, a little kid can. That was like a little kid can slide through it, or something like that, right? Yeah. You know, you can slide through. A little kid's leg can go through, or it's safety. It's a whole bunch of safety stuff that you don't have to think about, like in like residential spaces, but so many liability things in commercial. So,
well. I'm glad architecture didn't work out for you and you ended up Maker's Gym. So.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it.
And then last question, where can people learn more about you and Maker's Gym?
Man, well, Maker's Gym is, you know, at Maker's Gym at all platforms pretty much. There's on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. I know I'm missing one, but
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. I think we just got a Pinterest too. So yeah, we on a nice amount of platforms. You can find us on any of them. As far as myself, I'm TT Price at on Instagram, And then that links out to, you can just look me up at Terrance Price on Facebook and stuff. But I'm pretty much on Instagram. I have a TikTok, but you have an account just to look. I think I created my account just to watch my business account. That's the only reason I created a TikTok pretty much, but I might post on there one day.
Okay.
I really ain't got time to be creating reels right now. So.
Yeah. Feel that. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps us up. And again, I appreciate it. And just thank you for being here and dedicating some time to be here.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Yes, sir.